A solid offense wins points, wins games, and is visually impressive. But a good defense is what handcuffs your opponent and takes all those options away from them. Good defense is what goes on in the background that has won many a match, many a championship, and many tournaments. In today's video, I'm going to go through a couple of simple things to set a framework for how to build a solid defense. Let's get started. So when we talk about having a solid defense, there's a framework that is very simple to understand, and everybody defends differently. So if you know which way you're trying to defend and what your desired outcome is, it's very easy to apply to the way you like to play. Now, if you look at me and Emily hitting in this drill right here, we're just rallying cross court. This is what we call the basic starting point of most points. Most balls are going to go cross court to some degree, and then at some point, somebody's going to look to be a little more offensive. How we respond to that offensive position is going to fall into one of three categories. Now, the three categories that I look at are time, targets, and options. When we go to defend, we're usually looking to limit or add one of those things into our own situation and take it away from the other person. So in a rally where somebody changes direction, like you see Emily doing here, as I'm moving for that ball, I need to think, do I need to give myself back more time? Do I need to limit the targets that she has available? Or do I need to limit the options that she has available? Now, when I'm on the move, I need to be able to take in a lot of information quickly, obviously, but that decision-making process becomes very automatic as you get better. So here is the way that you want to look at it overall. Shifting it to this angle, everybody has a different preference in how they like to defend if they find themselves in a defensive position. So when you're in the rally cross court, if your opponent is somebody that moves you around a lot, you might be the person that needs time to get back in position. So when she hits a ball that goes this way, I just might want to give myself time like that. By hitting the ball a little bit higher, that puts me back in this neutral position, and then the court kind of shrinks a little bit, giving me time to track her next ball. If you're somebody that wants to take targets away, targets are basically what are the easy shots to hit and what are the more difficult shots to hit. Cross court's always going to be easier, but you can put the person in a position where cross court offensive might be a little bit more difficult. So, Emily, can you jump over to the ad side even further? Let's say Emily's strength is her inside out forehand. I know that, and I want to take that target away from her. So when I defend, again, she just went down the line. If I hit a deeper ball and she wants to attack me, even if that's her favorite shot, I'm taking away the target that she most likely wants to use just by putting the ball in the spot where the target becomes difficult to hit. Likewise, if she was somebody who likes to use heavier angles, I might want to land the ball a little deeper to take away those sharp angles, or hit the ball more central to take away those sharp angles. So as you're playing around with the different geometry of the court, this goes into knowing what your opponent is most likely to do. This usually happens over the course of a game or two where you start looking at their options. But the most basic version that you can do is most balls go cross court. What offensive shots have they been using? How do I take away down the line or make down the line a little more difficult? And then from there, you just apply your preferences to that person. Can you jump back over to the other side? Now, when we talk about limiting options, options are taking away shots by making it difficult to hit. So we took away targets first, we added time, but now options might be the person wants to be offensive, but high offense might be difficult or low offense might be difficult. So Emily, would you mind hitting that shot down the line, please? So she goes down the line, and if I go with that slice, it's more difficult to generate pace off of that slice. So that gives me some time back and also stops her from like flattening that ball out. If I go with a heavier response, can you go line again? If I go with a heavier response, that bounce is out of her strike zone a little more. And then as a result, she has to then go up after the ball. So options, targets, and time are the three basic pillars of how we work our defense into the game. A big problem that a lot of people have is they think defense is only hitting the ball higher, or defense is always slicing. You want to overlap the options, and you can do two or more at the same time. So for example, Emily, would you mind hitting that ball down the line one more time? This time I'm going to limit her options by hitting a specific shot, but I'm also going to hit that ball to a target that's going to make it even more difficult. I want you to try to hit your inside out forehand, okay? So after you go line, try to hit your inside out forehand. So she's gonna go down the line. Now that's really tough. And I hit the ball where she would want to hit her inside out forehand. But I took away the option by slicing it. I gave myself time by slicing it. And I made her target less available. I literally did all three in one shot. It's kind of difficult to do all the time, but you can always lean into the thing that you prefer to happen. Got it? Try it again. So she hits that shot. No time. And now I've just neutralized the point with that slice. She hit her inside out forehand, but it's definitely not as good as how she could have hit it had she had time to set up and really get her body weight into it. Now I know what you're thinking, that's all well and good, but what are the different ways to do it? So in the realm of taking away targets, the best way to take away targets is to understand that most people have a preferential space they like to hit, and you just want to put the ball in a spot where that target then becomes a high risk shot. So if somebody's favorite ball is to go forehand down the line or backhand down the line, then you want to make sure that when they hit the line, maybe they're farther back, or that they're off the court more, which makes the line a little bit more difficult to hit. Then when they go for it, it's high risk. That's not to say they can't hit it, but it just means they have to take a little higher risk, which means you're going to get a couple of free points here and there. Now, targeting, that takes a little bit of tennis IQ. You just have to kind of understand how the court works. Where are shots that are a little bit easier or difficult? Most people don't even think about defending to the middle, but the middle is a great way to take away certain angles. If you hit a ball deep center, it's very difficult to get pulled off the court too wide because the court's very short on one side or the other. Whereas if you defend cross court, you have to know that that person probably won't go down the line, but you are opening up a specific angle. So if that's a shot they like, you might be hurting yourself. When we look at taking away time and adding it back into our game, height is the obvious answer, but height's not the only way. If you go high, obviously it takes the ball a certain amount of time to get from point A to point B. But if you go with a heavier slice, for example, heavy slices tend to glide a little bit more. You tend to see people back away from the shot and wait for it to come up. That's a good way to add time back into your game without hitting an obvious moon ball, especially if you're playing somebody that's a little more aggressive. When they're aggressive, they look for that high ball to step in and take it early. So the slice might be a great option to slow your opponent down and keep them back. Now, when it comes to taking away options, options are usually determined by the height of the ball or the spin of the ball. So if you hit a high ball, some people don't like attacking from here. Some people do like attacking from there. Some people don't like hitting balls that are super low. Some people do. So you just have to know how to apply it to your opponent. If you're talking about getting the ball low, you probably want to go a little flatter, or you want to go the really low slice. If you're talking about going high, you could do a high slice, or you can do a heavier ball that's going to bounce high and kick right into that strike zone. But when you're controlling those options, you just want to know what the person on the other side likes or doesn't like, and then apply whatever your preference is to handle those things. So we've taken away options, we've taken away targets, and we've taken away or given ourselves time. Very simple to understand, but you've got to get on court and apply this framework to the way you like to play. Some people like to hold the baseline, and the way they defend is going to be different than people that like to play really far back on the curtain. It's a really simple concept to understand, but at the same time, you got to make sure you get your reps in of the way that suits your game the most. But that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. I hope it was helpful. If you know anybody that needs to work on their defensive game, please send this video off to them. Remember, there's a lot of different ways to do this, and there's a lot of different ways to apply it to the way you prefer to play. Slicing, lobbing, super low, opening up the court, going wide. There's a bunch of different things that can be applied. You just need to figure out which one fits the way you prefer to execute your game on the court. But with that being said, I'm back in my rhythm of doing videos, and I will be uploading more regularly. And until the next video, I'll see you guys in the next one.